All right, so we're good. We're on every platform right now. So let's first check in on the markets. You got to get your stock news going. Okay. The Dow's down a little bit. Nasdaq's up a lot, though. That's all we care about, guys. This is a tech podcast. We only care if the Nasdaq is up. Everything else can sink. No, that's not true. Because if everything else is sinking, probably means the Nasdaq isn't doing well. Because a lot of the stocks in the Nasdaq are in the S&P 500. Some of them are in the Dow, like Amazon, and Microsoft and Apple are all in the Dow, also in the Nasdaq, and then obviously how the S&P works is anyone that doesn't know, it's the top 500 companies in the U.S. A lot of those top 500 companies are listed on the Nasdaq, and that's why they overlap. But anyway, the Nasdaq's up 0.87%, and the S&P is up 0.51%. And the Dow is down, sadly, 0.06%. Not too much, though, so don't worry. And some of the big tech stocks, NVIDIA, roaring back up. We're up 4% there. We saw a little pullback in NVIDIA, but now it's doing better, so don't worry, guys. And let's see, Bitcoin's down a little bit, sitting at that 60,000 mark. And then what else is roaring today? Oh, Amazon's down a little bit. Microsoft up slightly. So yeah, really nothing too crazy, but it's good NVIDIA's back up because we were seeing that pullback and the market was worried. But we're better. We're better now. Still up 12% this month. Wait, that's July they're talking, or is that? Oh no, they're talking last 30 days, not just July. Okay. But yeah, so there you go. That's your market news. Let's jump into some of the tech news because we do have a while before Shriyans joins. So we have a lot of time to talk about tech news. So let's jump into it. So Threads, we all know Threads, the ex-competitor by Instagram. They hit 175 million users after 1 year, which I thought they were at that already. I don't know. I guess my numbers were off. I really thought for some reason they were higher than that. But all right, no, when they first launched, it took them, I'm looking at the chart right now, which, let me bring that over for all our live stream viewers, like on Kick and Twitch and YouTube. They all can see this, but if you're on Twitter, it's okay. I'll tell you what I'm looking at. But there's a graph here, basically, of the first year of Threads, how many people joined. So they had that initial really, I guess you would say spurt, jump up from, 100 million users in only 3 months. So pretty good, right? If any other social media did that, it would be wild. But this is, Meta we're talking about. They own Facebook and Instagram. So, let's actually see how many users Instagram has. Because it's going to be a lot more than that. I can tell you that. Let's see, 2 billion. Yes. So Instagram has 2 billion. And let's see how many. And oh, no, that wasn't old. That was like a few months ago. I thought that said 2021. And then Facebook has almost 3 billion as of 2023, so they're probably past that now. If they're still growing. I mean, I approach it at the pace, like, if you're not already on Facebook, I guess you could go over, but, like, when you get to a point where you're so big, there's a lot less people that could come on your platform. But okay, no, apparently, yeah, they're kind of at that, like, 2 to this is saying Q4 2023 was still 2,000 million, that is, so 2 billion. But all right, so yeah, so my point I'm trying to make here is Threads has had 100 million in 3 months, which sounds like a ton, but for Meta, it's not that difficult because they have almost 3 billion on Facebook and 2 billion on Instagram, so not too crazy for them. But now they are up to 175 million on Threads. So what we really need to compare this to, though, is the users on X, which every time I use its real name, people do not like. Its real name is X now, guys. You have to face the times. I don't even know if that's a saying. But, but people still want me to say Twitter. I'm not gonna. I gotta be living in the future, guys. Gotta be facing the future. All right, I'm trying to find the numbers here, but there's actually not a lot of them. Not a lot of sources. Okay, so this is saying, actually, it's decreased because 2022 was its peak, apparently. I don't know if this is like active users or total users. I think it's total. But this is saying 368 million in 2022. That was its peak. Now it's down to 335 million. So it's lower, which is weird that it's decreasing. But I think we know why. Since Elon bought it, people haven't been happy. But they are bringing in more money, though, because they've been really, like, ramping up, premium and all that stuff, just from, like, a business perspective. But, yeah, so basically, Threads, 175 million, and Twitter, or X, has 335 million. So, Threads has a while to go, but definitely possible, right? Personally, I was recently looking into Threads, and I'll tell you why. I was like, all the stuff I post on X, I could just be posting on Threads, and apparently Threads gets like a lot more views like on the same posts as you post on X. So it's like, yeah, I should just be posting all the stuff on Threads. And also I've come to the conclusion, as you can probably tell by how we stream on multiple platforms like Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, that the more platforms I'm on, the more audience we just build easily, right? Because, it's just more platforms, more viewers. So I've been thinking about not going over to Threads. I would be on both. I love Twitter, but I would do it. Probably, I wanted to see if I could automate it with something like Zapier, which is pretty good. I've used it before. It's pretty good. It's good if you pay for it, though. It's almost too complex. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with it, where something like Magic Loops, which we've had the founder of Magic Loops on TSARP. Go check that out. We should have him back on at some point. They're working on a lot of stuff. They've had a lot of updates. The only reason I would go with Zapier, which is because they have a lot of both of those are automation platforms, but Zapier has connections, or like basically integrated other apps into their platform. So there is like a Instagram integration with Zapier, but Magic Loops hasn't had any of those integrations. They don't integrate with platforms. You kind of have to just like do it yourself with like an API. So it's a little more, I don't even know, like it's just it can probably I don't know if it can do more. I don't know. They're slightly different use cases. I guess I would say that. Both great platforms. Love both of them. But yeah, that was actually my recommendation to the founder of Magic Loops when he was on, to kind of let it just integrate with other platforms, like add some integrations in. So instead of me having to go over to X, right, and grab my API key and then set up an API request in Magic Loops, it kind of just, boom, I click one button, connect my profile, and it's there, So anyway, that's why I was looking at that. And yeah, so I wanted to set up an automation to automatically post my Twitter posts onto Twitter, and I was looking at that last night, and I was a little late, and I was getting tired, and I was like, oh no, I actually have to like get ready for today's episode. I was like, yeah, that's probably more important for me to get ready for this episode than to focus on trying to get my tweets over to Threads. So I stopped looking at it, but I will continue later today, and I will update you guys on Friday if I remember. If I don't, you have to remind me, because I probably will forget, knowing me. But yeah, so that's the Threads news. They're doing better. Actually, maybe I'll save this rant for another time, because it's totally off topic. So maybe I'll do that, because actually, here's a plug. Let me plug real quick, because also let me double check my Twitter audio is working, because my YouTube audio is working. But I have had some problems with Twitter. Now it's working. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah, so here's a plug, because I think I'll do this rant, which I was about to have. Not a bad rant. It's just a really, like, I got on the topic of trying to figure out how to do something, and I spent a weird amount of time on it, which no one else would care about, which is why I'm calling it a rant. But I will save it, because it's on the topic of stocks, kind of, for Young Minds and Market Finds this Friday. I know the start time. I think we're starting at 8:25. Not sure when we're ending. I wanted to end after the after the opening bell. After the closing bell would be a long live stream. But after the opening bell on Friday before the TSARP episode. But I think maybe we'll end like 9, or maybe we'll go to the closing bell. Not sure. We're still trying to work things out. But yeah, so I'm really excited for that. You know me, I love to talk about stocks. I talked about them today already, but I try to not include it too much in TSARP just because I know, the audience overlaps sometimes, but for other people it just doesn't, and for the people it doesn't, they don't care, so I try not to too much. But there, to a point. Obviously, I will probably give you more updates on what the market is doing later in this episode, because that's just me. But yeah, so Friday, if you're into the stock market, if you're a teen or a young person, it's gonna be great because it's literally called Young Minds and Market Finds because we are all teens. I think we've spanned from 2 14-year-olds, 1 16, and 1 18, I believe. I have to double check those ages, but I mean it doesn't really matter. But it just shows you the range. We're literally right at the bottom. Besides 13 comes before 14, obviously. But I mean we're almost right at the bottom, fully and then almost to the top with 18. So a large range, which is great. And we're not the only 14s out there interested in the stock market. There's a whole app. There's a great app called Bloom. Check it out. Great investing for teens app that has like over 1 million users. So we know you're all out there. So we're just trying to get you over to Young Minds Market Finds. Gonna be great. Don't forget to tune in on Friday. It's gonna be right here on Twitter. Well, not right here if you're listening on YouTube, but yeah, so we actually already have the space scheduled. So if you just want to click remind on it, I got to find where it is. Oh, here it is. So I will actually send the link in the YouTube chat. But if you're on Twitter, then just search. Can you search for Spaces? I don't even know. Just scroll on my profile. It's on there. I posted about it recently, not too long ago. So, all right. Let's see what else is going on with tech. I went off topic for a while there. That Threads one was the very interesting one I had seen, which is why I thought it was going to be good news. There's some like updates on Apple Vision Pro. Apparently Netflix is trying to start phasing out its cheapest ad-free plan. So that's annoying. Maybe, yeah, let's talk about that. So also there was Figma news, and I want to talk about Figma, so that is good news. I think we're good today, guys. We got some good news. The Monday was a little dry, but today we got a lot of bunch of news. So Netflix has like a ton of plans. Let's see if I can actually find each of them. Here they list them. So they have their first plan has ads, and it's $7 a month. Okay, it says $6.99. We all know that's a trick. It is $7. Well, it really is $6.99, but don't think of it that way because you will think it is less. It's how the human brain works. It's $7 with ads. And so I mean, it's very strange, right? The prices keep going up, but they also keep adding in more ads to the higher prices. So you pay $7, get ads. Then the next plan is $12, and I think, is that the one with the ad-free? I think, yeah, that has to be ad-free. Otherwise, that plan wouldn't make any sense. So then it's $12 ad-free. Then after that is a 16 or wait, yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. I don't know the difference between the tiers because there's also a $23 a month that's ad-free in 4K, and that one's like the highest, but I also don't get the difference between the lower priced one. So I got to look into this. But, okay, yeah, yeah, I can't tell. These plans are really confusing. Let me just look up the Netflix plans because they don't make it simple. Okay. I think this is it. Yeah. So standard with ads is $7. We talked about that. Standard with extra member, oh no, standard without ads is the $15.49, and then premium is the $23 with the 4K without ads. So I think they're not counting the plan they're talking about in this article that they just removed that I think was also ad free, but I don't know what made it different than the standard. But basically the point of this article is they're removing the $12 a month plan. If you're on that, that's the only all that matters. If you'll know what you're getting if you're on that plan. Basically, learn that you're either going to have to downgrade to with ads for $7 a month or upgrade to almost $16 for an ad-free tier. So there you go. Netflix raising prices, removing plans. But yeah, so also, by the way, you can add extra member slots, which I think is to basically pay for, like, if like you're sharing it with people outside your household, I think. And that's $8 extra per month. But it's different than if you bought your own plan, because if you're on the $23 plan, I'm like a Netflix salesman, I don't know, I'm getting really in depth here. If you're on the $23 a month plan for premium with 4K, you can add another member on, or another few members, I'm not sure, to that plan for the price of one plan. Wow, I'm a salesman. I should go work at Netflix, even though I didn't understand their plans originally. But there you go. That's the news with Netflix. Not as great as the Threads news. I know. Let's move over to that Figma news, because that was actually pretty interesting from what I saw. Because recently there was the Figma Config conference, which is a big conference that goes on each year, hosted by Figma, a big design software company, if you don't know. And they announced a ton of different things, like Figma Slides, which is their new slides designing tool. We could actually just talk about that too. A ton of AI stuff, a whole redesign, but apparently there's some criticism. So Figma pulls AI tool after criticism that it ripped off Apple's design. Oh no, alright, so Figma says it didn't train the generative AI models it used and blames a bespoke design system. Alright, let's dive a little into this. Figma's new tool, Make Designs, let users quickly mock up apps using generative AI. Now, it's been pulled after the tool drafted designs that looked strikingly similar to Apple's iOS weather app. Figma CEO Dylan Field posted a thread on X earlier Tuesday morning detailing the removal, putting the blame on himself for pushing the team to meet a deadline, and defending the company's approach to developing its AI's tools. All right, this is so strange. The generative AI model, or the generative AI tool, looks similar to Apple's weather app, which is a weird comparison to a AI tool to a weather app. Let's see, do they include pictures of this? Okay, so they include pictures. Here's basically a tweet just with pictures. So let me find this. All right, so here is this, which, these are just pictures of the weather app. I don't know where the pictures of the design. Oh, is it designing? Oh, I think what it's saying is it's copying Apple's designs when you ask it to make things, is what I'm getting. That would make a lot more sense, even though I just explained that horribly. Yeah, okay, I explained that really bad, so I'll go over that again. Basically, what they are saying, and I guess, oh, okay, now I get it. I read a little more. Okay, let me explain this. So, on the left here, you see a design made by Figma's new AI, that looks exactly like the weather apps on the right. So, yes, this is why it was so confusing, because it is so similar to Apple, where I literally thought it was a weather app, which it is a weather app, but I thought it was Apple's weather app. The app you see here, oh, by the way, you can't see this on Twitter. Maybe, can I? Oh, no, I can't post this either. All right, I'll explain what I'm saying in a second. On the left here, you see an app. Okay, that was designed by Figma's AI. On the right, you also see a weather app, but that is the Apple weather apps. So Figma's AI is very similar to Apple's designs. So a lot of criticism comes is Figma's design tool just literally copying Apple designs? And then Figma's CEO went into it, basically kind of explaining how it works. And I don't know if he said that that's what they're doing or not. We can check that in a sec. But yeah, so basically, their tool is kind of copying Apple designs. Intentionally or not, we don't really know, but that's what it's doing, and that's the criticism. So now let me dive into what his response was. So, I think, let me just read through this quickly. He says that, okay, so their AI models are OpenAI's GPT-4o and Amazon's Titan image generator. So it's not like they made the custom model. So that kind of shows that it's not all of them. It could just be OpenAI's models and Amazon's models. And then apparently they also said they didn't want to do any custom training of their own, so they didn't train any models. It wasn't like they provided any designs to teach these models. So it wasn't them at all specifically trying to copy Apple or accidentally copying, because they didn't provide the designs. And then, yeah, so they just go into to talk about training the models, and okay, so now they're just talking about how to fix it. So, yeah, so basically what they're saying is whatever the apps are generating, it's probably happening. And this is one of the problems with AI, because they really don't know. AI isn't hard-coded. Everything it does is, just is fully generated by itself. We can't hard-code AI really all the time to not do something, which is why AI is so scary or so difficult to use, is because you could say, don't do this, but there's no way to 100% guarantee it won't, because that's just how AI is designed, at least for now. We don't know if that will change in the future, meaning that they can only assume why this is happening. It would be very difficult to say exactly. They would have to do a lot of different testing on it, but maybe they will. Basically, to fix it, though, I think they're going to try to design their own. I mean, to design your own model is the best way to fix this, because if you design your own model and never give it pictures of Apple software, you can almost guarantee to a very high percentage that it won't. But again, this is AI. It could accidentally get very close to Apple designs without ever showing it Apple designs. So, yeah, but that's the criticism. Very strange that this happened. It's also very funny that it really, I mean, it was so similar, their designs, to Apple's, that I didn't understand, because I thought it was Apple's just looking at the picture. Like, they showed pictures of 4 different weather apps, and I was like, okay, that's just Apple's. Where I literally said this too. I was like, okay, that's Apple's. Where's the Figma one? And then I realized that was the Figma one. So, yeah, pretty strange. That's just we're gonna see things like with AI like this more and more. We've already seen things where AI is just copying other pieces of work from the past, and that's a big thing there. And a lot of people are talking about how can we fix that. And like I previously said, it's not easy, so we're going to have to see what happens. Let's see what else is going on in the tech news space. Every time I go to the Verge, it keeps bringing me to the same article. It's annoying, but okay, so let's see what else. Apparently Xbox Live was out a little yesterday, but now it's back up. Little topic there. Let's see what else. Apparently there's updates on Apple Vision Pro, just what's going on, but we already talked about Apple Vision Pro on Monday, so probably wouldn't want to go back there. Apparently Marvel What If, a big series. I tried to get into it. I don't know, it wasn't really my thing, but a lot of people liked it. But they're ending it now. Marvel What If was a Disney Plus series, basically where it took different I guess I would say time periods in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and basically said, well, what if, this happened instead of that? Very cool because it's kind of like, it's not canon, right? This is just what if. It didn't actually happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's kind of like incorporating what viewers always think, like, oh, I wonder, like, what if this just didn't happen? I mean, that's why it's called What If. People literally do that all the time. I've done that really with Star Wars a lot. I'm a little bit more of a Star Wars fan than a Avengers fan or Marvel fan. But, so a really cool concept, and I hope we see this more with other TV shows. Like, this should just be something that people do with big franchises. Like, I would love to see a Star Wars What If. That would be awesome. But they're officially ending it with its third season. I tried to get into Marvel What If. It was just kind of like, it's almost cool if you could just search by scenes, but just because I hadn't watched all the movies that they were doing a what if on, it was kind of like, yeah, I would have to watch the movie to kind of enjoy it. I mean, not all the time, but it would definitely help. So since I didn't watch all of them, really just like the Avengers series, the Iron Mans, and then some of the Captain Americas, not all of them, some of the Thors, not all of them. So that's why it wasn't the best for me, but for really big fans, I bet it would have been great, or it was great. I mean, they lasted for 3 seasons, so it had to be at least a little good. But yeah, so they're ending it now. Apparently there's updates on other. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, they're kind of just talking about other series or other movies they're working on. Apparently a 2027 movie coming out in 2027? Here's some movie. So, apparently they're working on a Blade movie, Deadpool 3, people have been waiting for that, Fantastic Four, and this is the one either coming out in 2027 or set in 2027. Okay, so it's I think it's supposed to be set in 2027, but coming out in 2026. It was originally supposed to come out in 2025, but now 2026. So it's called Avengers Secret Wars. I don't know what it's about, but it sounds pretty cool. Maybe I just search this up, see what's happening. This isn't really tech news. This is just Marvel news, but why not dive into it a little bit? So, no, this is saying it's coming out. Yeah. Okay. Apparently it is coming out in 2027, because I just looked it up, even though this article is saying 2026. That's weird. That's just weird to plan a movie 3 years ahead, but already announce it. Like, obviously, they take a long time to work on movies. We know that, but to announce that it's coming out 3 years in the future is a weird thing to do. But anyway, it's apparently, yeah, it's gonna be about, the Avengers. It's another Avengers. It's not like, it's in the series of Avengers movies. It's supposed to come after Endgame, from what I know. And Thor's in it, guys. Thor's in it, but, yeah, from what I'm getting, is it's just another movie in the series. But, oh, wait, is there another one that they also have planned for the future? The Kang Dynasty? I don't know. I don't know. This is too deep for me, guys. This is too much Marvel. I'm getting wrapped up in a cinematic universe I'm not too informed about, so I'm probably not the best person to really look into this. But anyway, it's very interesting. I gotta look more into this after the episode, but I gotta find more tech news now. Let's see. Apparently, the Final Fantasy creator is obsessed with the latest Final Fantasy. I mean, I guess that's a good thing. But apparently he can't stop playing his own game. Okay. Let's see what else is on here. Oh, Perplexity news. Perplexity.AI. We recently had a whole episode dedicated to Perplexity because there was a lot of criticism recently about Perplexity. So, let's see. Perplexity's Pro Search AI upgrade makes it better at math and research. the research part is really what it needs, or just searching, because there's been a few criticisms from different people about how it's just very inaccurate sometimes. So hopefully this research upgrade can help it. So the AI search startup, facing questions about its ethics, says its pro search is capable enough to pinpoint case laws for attorneys. So, all right, interesting. Perplexity has launched a major upgrade to its Pro Search AI tool, which says it understands when a question requires planning, works through goals step by step, and synthesizes in-depth answers with greater efficiency. All right, so this all sounds good, right? Because it sounds like it's really doing in-depth searches on the topics, which should help with not just its ethics, but its accuracy. So that would be a good thing. And so we can kind of see a little GIF here. Yes, GIF, not GIF. Of them reading a bunch of different sources right there. It looked like, like 8 different sources there, which is good. It's, it's got to check against a lot of websites, or it's just going to be inaccurate. We see that happening a lot with stuff like Overview by Google, Bing search, Gemini search, and that's what you need to do, because if you tell an AI model stuff from just one website, it's probably going to be wrong, because you need multiple different sources. That's like everyone knows that goes back to like even writing essays in school. Like, you need to cite your sources. You also need to have a minimum of like like a lot of essays will say like minimum of 3 sources, because you need multiple sources of information, and AI is doing that even better. So yeah, what's interesting is I actually see the price point of $20 a month coming up a lot, which is funny, because it's almost like the AIs, and this is what they're doing, it's not almost like, all the AIs are setting the same exact subscription price, but just trying to beat on like how good the models are, which I guess is it's a good thing, right? Because they're like, this is the price because this is the minimum price we can charge, but also, instead of trying to just lower the prices, we're just making our models better and better for that $20 price point, which I think is great, because Anthropic's advanced AI is $20 a month. Perplexity is $20 a month. ChatGPT Plus is $20 a month. I don't know about things like Gemini or Copilot. Let's see, Copilot Plus price. I don't know if it's called Plus. I'm just seeing. Planning, and yep, this one, Copilot's also $20 a month, and I would assume Gemini is, and that would probably also, let's see, Gemini, oh no, that's their API. Ugh, don't care about their API. Their API pricing is competitive, though. That's when, that's the pricing to incorporate AI into your program. That pricing gets competitive, because that's like really precise numbers, too. They charge like per token usage and per and there's like small little cents. It's like, 0.01 cent for X amount of tokens, and the tokens are basically like how many words you're using, but not always a token equals one word, and it's just, that gets very complex. But I'm just talking about consumer pricing here. Yeah, I can't. Actually, apparently it, okay. I think that Gemini might just not have a Pro, but I really thought it did. I think, let's try Gemini Advanced. How much is this? Oh, guys, okay, it's very competitive. Gemini is a lot cheaper. It's $19.99 a month compared to the $20 a month everything else is. So you'll be saving a good amount depending on how long you use it. So that's my official endorsement. Go use Gemini. I'm not kidding. No, I am. No, actually, I was thinking of switching over to Anthropic, because Anthropic's Claude, and I am going to switch over, because it is so much better at coding than ChatGPT is, like a world of a difference. Ask it to really test this. Just ask it to make like an HTML, like a really nice looking HTML page, and it will use the same prompt for both. And maybe we should do a little demo. We have time. We have. Oh my God, the hour's almost up already. No, I'm lying. It's almost 2, but we only started it at 1:20. I was like, that would be the quickest hour of my life. But yeah, so let's see. Let me get a little demo going here. Test both of them out. And let's see. So let me pull up Claude. Actually, I got to sign in on Chrome because actually, no, I don't. I can just use Arc, which I'm using right now. I'm an Arc guy, by the way. I like Arc a lot. I don't know about you guys, but it's different. It's a change of pace. It's got some cooler features, nicer UI. It's simpler. Yeah, sure. That's my official endorsement. We should get sponsored. We should get their founder on here. I think I tried, honestly. But he's busy. I don't think he even responded. No offense. No hate to him. He's just, they're all busy. So, all right. So let's test this out. I got Claude up here. Let's run a little test. So, let's see. Just make a really nice landing page with HTML, CSS, JavaScript for the TSARP podcast. And let me copy that and get that running for ChatGPT. So that one's already off. And I can already see the insane. I'm not altering it, guys. Don't worry. I'm just opening up ChatGPT. All right. So, yeah, I could already see the world of a difference that it was making over there. But here's the ChatGPT one. Because I could see the insane CSS it was adding to it, and I don't think ChatGPT is going to do that. No, I think it even skipped over CSS. Oh, it's probably going to do it in a separate file, to be honest, because that's what happens a lot. But we'll have to see. Maybe if it does it in a separate file, I'll tell it to make it one, because the way I was going to run these, I wasn't going to use separate files. Yeah, I was just going to run it on Kidoyo's single file editor, which would make things a lot easier. But all right, let's see how it goes. Yeah, see, it's doing CSS in a different file. Combine into one script, I should say. All right, so once it's done, I'll do that, and then I'll copy them over into Kidoyo, and we'll put to the test which one is better. Also, I saw Claude going a lot faster than this, so, and GPT-4o is supposed to be pretty fast. It's faster than 4, but slower than 3.5. I also don't know, like, what model should I be using? Like, this is the newest and most advanced. I guess it's GPT-4o, because this is advanced model, but that's the most advanced, so GPT-4 is obviously better. But 3.5 is also faster, so. Combine into... Oh, I spelled combine wrong. Dumbo. All right. It's going to make... It also added some JavaScript, so I don't know if Claude did that. We'll have to see. Is that bonus points? No, we're only going on looks. Okay, you only judge things by its looks. That's a horrible lesson to say. No, but when it comes to a website, it's got to look good. So we'll see. Also, by the way, my recent landing page might or might not have been made by Claude. Is really good for TSARP portals. Go check it out. I'll open that up after. I don't want to interfere with this CSS. Actually, it's adding a lot right now, so this actually might not be bad. I don't know. It might actually be good, because the amount of CSS doesn't always mean it's better. I'm just saying if it's adding a lot, it's got to be pretty good. But all right, also, it's pretty... now, also, we can't judge on the content of the... of how much it knows about TSARP, because ChatGPT knows more about TSARP, because, like, I'll say, like, oh, write this for TSARP, like, write a little thing, help me write this, right? Where Claude, I've only been using for a short time, and I don't think it has the feature to, like, remember things that ChatGPT does. It might. I'm not sure, though. All right, so now we have generated both ones. Okay, actually... I'm just looking at both files. I'm rooting for Claude, by the way, because I'm putting my money over there. Look at this. This is Claude's. A lot less code. Probably not going to help it. But let's see. So I'm opening up Kidoyo now. And how am I signed out? When am I ever signed out of Kidoyo? That's weird. By the way, Kidoyo, great platform for learning how to code. Not just great for kids. But it doesn't have to be for kids. It's aimed more rad kits, so it's going to be easier if you're an adult, which is not a bad thing. So, yeah, go check it out. I'm not sharing my screen, right? I was about to show my password. Let's see. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, Kiddo is great. If you want to check it out, go use our referral code in the description. It doesn't do anything for you, sadly. Oh, no, it does. I'm lying. I don't know why I thought it didn't. It gives you extra mentor tokens when you sign up. I was getting that confused with our invite code system for the portals. If you use someone's invite code on the TSARP portals, it only helps them, which we should probably change. But the reason I was thinking that too is because it doesn't take it doesn't give you a discount. It just gives you more stuff when you sign up. So kind of a discount. All right, so this is the first page. This is ChatGPT's. All right, interesting. So I'm just gonna save it. Keep it in this editor. So looking pretty good. Besides some of the overlapping issues here, the off-centering. That's not great. The nav bar is a little weird, but that's probably because I'm just opening up in a small thing. Also and there's also white on white, which is a little bad because it does say welcome to TSARP and give a little description, but yeah, a little weird. All right, so first one, not the best, but we'll see. Let me duplicate this, and we'll open up the next one and see how Claude's does. We've never really done a live comparison of two models. This is fun. So, all right, and here we go. I'll share my screen for when I paste it. So here we go, preview on. All right, so this is Claude's. Lot less to the page. Everything is, good, though. Nothing is out of place. Everything is good. I don't want to have to give these a tie, but I'm thinking through this, and it's almost a tie for different reasons. I said just for looks, though, which probably... Yeah, but I still don't know. See, everything's perfect here, right? Nothing is out of place. Everything's supposed to be going to the left. Everything is. There's no, same color or text on same color background. Nothing like that. All pretty simple. I also didn't tell it what complexity either. It just, what it did. And then back over here to the ChatGPT one, you see a lot of... just weird stuff going on here, stuff off-center, stuff overlapping. So I don't know. Should I put it up to a vote? I don't know. How many? The problem is it would be hard to vote because a lot of our viewers over on Twitter wouldn't be able to vote because there's no comment section or anything. So I don't know. I mean, I'm almost going to be... I don't want to be biased here. I'm leaning towards Claude just because, in a pinch... What do you want? More? This is a great debate. This is the debate of quality versus quantity. You get more with one prompt on ChatGPT, or at least in this example. I'm not going to run more tests. But you get more with ChatGPT when making a website. More code, more info, but you get a higher quality response from Claude. So I don't know, which one do you want? Also, the reason I was specifically saying you have to focus on looks is because Claude did add some pretty cool JavaScript to basically easily add in more episodes to the list, which was nice. But again, we're not judging on code, but just keep that in mind. So I don't know, maybe quality is ahead of quantity, and I don't know. I guess I'll go with Claude on this one. But again, this is a very bad test because if you were actually doing this test, you would want to see how well it updates, right? Say if you gave it something to fix, would it do it? Or if you gave it, if you told it, if we were judging, again, on JavaScript, Claude would win. So I don't know. It's a very unfair test here, but so I think I would lean a little towards Claude just because I don't want weird stuff that ChatGPT is giving me, like the join button overlapping with the text there, and Claude's was just simple. All right, so there you go. That's our very bad test, but it works. It gives you a little view into how the models are different there. So, all right, let's see what else is going on. Maybe next episode, maybe on Friday, we'll compare all 4 big AIs: Copilot, Gemini, and Claude, ChatGPT, and does Perplexity even do coding? I don't know. It's really just a search AI. I don't even know. That's what we'll do before we move on to the next topic. Let me test Perplexities and see if it even does coding. Make me a simple website. Just, not even. Okay, it does code. Okay, here you go. This is it. It does code, and again, I said simple. It gave me simple. But this is where Perplexity is going to be better. I can I can now say, make me a website for the TSARP podcast and include its latest episodes. So I don't know if it's going to get the latest episodes, and we'll probably get episodes, real episodes. But also Perplexity has zero prior knowledge about me and the podcast besides the internet. So let's see what it does. So it pulls up sources. It pulled up all different pages of the podcast. And now let's see what it does. TSARP Technology News for Everyone. That's correct. That's our kind of title on YouTube. Different on Twitter, though. And then let's see. No, so I don't think it got our description correct, but it didn't get any episodes in there. So that's interesting. All right, so a little showcasing some differences. Again, all these models have different strong suits. Perplexity strong suit is obviously searching, right? It has a lot. It has full access really to the internet, so it was able to grab information on TSARP very quickly. Where Claude was a little, it didn't have the bugs in the code and the weirdness that ChatGPT did, but ChatGPT also gave us more. But Claude and Perplexity were both a lot faster than ChatGPT too. So there you go. That's a little showcase. There is no winner. I take it back. Claude's not the winner. We're just showcasing the differences. All right, now let's move on. The problem. Let's not focus on The Verge. Let's go over to TechCrunch. You gotta diversify your news sources, even though both of them will probably have very similar news. I also like Morning Brew. Shout out to Morning Brew. I was trying to get the founder of Morning Brew on here too. He liked my tweet, guys. So maybe this is the future of TSARP. Maybe in the future we will get him on because he liked my tweet. And you all know if someone likes your tweet, they're going to come on your podcast. It's not even close to true. All right, so let's see. I'm on TechCrunch. No, I don't like it as much as The Verge. The Verge on top, gotta admit. I don't know. Apparently, yeah. This is I'm never on TechCrunch. Sam's on TechCrunch a lot. I'm not. Oh, it actually has the same Threads news. I don't know. It's not as interesting. Oh, this title's funny, but I'm not going to go into it. The title is From Burritos to Biotech. Okay. I don't know. I don't even know what to take from that. I mean, I guess I don't know if these people had previously started a burrito company or they just happened to work at Chipotle, but yeah. All right, let's go back on the Verge. TechCrunch bad. Does Morning Brew even have a site for, I mean, I know their newsletter, but do they post their articles? Oh, they do. Okay. So, actually, there's one about Waymo, which, if you don't know Waymo, it's California's, well, not only California's. They're trying to get everywhere, but I think they're mainly right now just in California. But they're self-driving taxis. But I believe owned by Google. Maybe not owned by Google. Who owns Waymo? Let me look it up. I thought it was owned by Google, but actually now I don't think it is. Oh, it is. It is. It's not owned, though, by Google. It's owned by Alphabet, which also happens to own Google. Yes, that's what it is. Alphabet owns Google, and Alphabet also owns Waymo. So, practically the same thing. It's like if you buy Google stock, you're also buying Waymo stock. It's because they're all in one conglomerate. All right, so Waymo's California dream come true. People who were afraid of talkative Uber drivers rejoice. Driverless taxi rides are one step closer to ubiquity. Waymo One, the ride-hailing service that employs self-driving cars, is now available to everyone in San Francisco. San Francisco is the second city to go full Waymo 4 years after the company opened operations to the general public in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, so Waymo, first, like they said, the first time it was open to the general public was in Phoenix, Arizona. Now they are officially in their second city, which goes to show like kind of how slow the self-driving taxi market is going. But they are now officially open to everyone in San Francisco. Basically, the tech do people even call it that, the tech capital of the world? I bet they do. Yeah, I mean, it is. It really is. Would make sense for Waymo to be, in San Francisco. But that's cool. If you live in San Francisco, you can now just download the app, I believe, call a Waymo, and you will be able to be driven somewhere without having to interact with humans. Beautiful. Great for San Francisco nerds, gotta admit. No offense, I'm one myself, just not in San Francisco. But for any antisocial nerds, it's great. They're probably rejoicing. They had a party with themselves, but they had one, and it was all about. It was because they were so happy that now they don't need to interact with Uber drivers. But anyway, pretty cool. Self-driving cars. They're getting somewhere. They're slowly advancing. I mean, Tesla's been trying to work on robo-taxis for the longest time now. Shareholders not too happy about that. But maybe they got to focus on it, because obviously there's advancements in the space that they're not taking advantage of. But we'll have to see. So hopefully, maybe the wild thing. San Francisco's one thing, but San Francisco's pretty normal landscape. I mean, I think there's some weird hills, like just weird, like steep roads, not hills, like steep roads in San Francisco. But the real thing would be to see if you could get Waymos or robo-taxis in New York City. If you could do that, open to the general public, that would make headlines for, like, just shake the world. Because if anyone's ever been to New York City, taxi drivers have a hard job driving in New York City. It's not the easiest thing to do. A lot of people just hate driving in New York City because it's incredibly annoying, right, with just how, to drive in New York City, because it's very, it's not like you were driving through, your little suburban town. So that would be crazy, not just because it's hard to drive in the city, but also because of, everyone knows, the yellow taxis in New York City. It's practically the staple of New York City. That would just shake people up, being that they, it's kind of like when Uber came to New York City, but times 2 now with Waymo. So that would be wild. Would have to see that. But yeah, and Waymo's not the only company doing this. Like I said, Tesla's trying, but there's also a few others. I forget the names of them, but they're not the only one. So. All right, there you go. I also know Uber had interest in starting their own for obvious reasons. I mean, if Uber was able to combine their user base and their and their software, like for hailing or for calling Ubers with Waymo's technology, that would be wild. But Google would never give up Waymo to Uber unless they really paid them a ton, because that would just literally, like, put anyone else out of the market with self-driving cars. Also, they might, maybe not because they're technically two different businesses, but they might also have antitrust issues, because they would have trust issues. Yes, no. I think the government wouldn't be too happy with the biggest. I don't know if they're the biggest. I guess they would be the biggest. Ride-sharing company also own one of the highly advanced self-driving car companies. But since they're not in the same market, technically, maybe they couldn't do anything about it. I don't know. This is almost getting too advanced for me. I know a lot about the business world. There are definitely teens that know more than me, though, which is why on Friday, Young Minds and Market finds Nick Brown, who was recently on TSARP on Monday. He would probably know more than I would on that topic, so maybe I'll bring it up, which is why you got to tune in. See, tech and business combines, because all your tech was brought to you by businesses. I mean, Apple, what is it? A business. Where are they? On the stock market. So, see, that's how it combines. But yeah, so, all right, Waymo, the future of cars, guys. Let's see, anything else? Well, obviously, there's other things else, but I mean, anything better? We got about 15 minutes till Shriyans joins, so not too much longer. Maybe let's check in on the market. What's going on there? All right, Nvidia still up about 4%. That's what we want to see. I don't actually own that much Nvidia. It's not very prevalent in my portfolio. I gotta get back into buying, guys. I've been I mean, I can't just because I'm really saving up for a MacBook here. I want a good one, and all my money's in the stock market. It's bad. I would have been able to buy probably 2 MacBooks by now, but I invested all my money, and actually probably close to 3. No, probably 2. Probably exactly 2. But I invested all my money, so now I'm trying to get to save up again and try to get a MacBook because I don't want to sell my stock. I will sell my stock in a little bit just to move around my portfolio once it turns into long-term capital gains, but not yet because I need the money for a MacBook. But yeah, all right. Other stocks same, not too crazy. GameStop still at that $25 price point. Wild. I'm not going to get into it too much, but Roaring Kitty really knows how to make a stock go roaring. He literally made it jump 15 points from $10, which the investors in GameStop were suing him. Don't know too many details, but they also stopped. They pulled back, they dropped the lawsuit after 3 days, which was wild. Which was just why did they knew I guess something happened behind closed doors that made them drop it, but I just wonder why they did it so quickly to make headlines, right, for suing Roaring Kitty, and then to drop it 3 days later is just strange. But maybe we'll know one day, maybe we won't, or maybe we'll know soon, and maybe we won't. But all right, let's go back into The Verge. That was funny. Yeah, I keep doing that too. I'm like, maybe we will know. And we also might not know. I did that a bunch on Monday. I was like, yeah, I would assume that's normally how common logic works. You might know. If you might know, you also might not know. And I said that at least 3 times on Monday. I was like, what's wrong with me? All right, let's see. I also keep saying let's see, but you all know that. That's what I say all the time. Every time I look for the next topic. We haven't done tech news, tech history in a while. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Tech history. This day in tech history. This website gives me problems, though, sometimes. No, it's actually working today. Okay, on this day, in July 3rd, 1969, UCLA issues a press release stating that it will become the first station in a national-wide computer network, which for the first time will link together computers of different makes and using different machine languages into one time-sharing system. All right, and then with that system, do you know what it was? Well, it was the internet. I think you could have guessed that, though. But yeah, actually, if you didn't know, a little history on the internet actually started... Well, it was big. The government had a big part in getting the internet started. You might think, internet that's, private. It's not controlled by the government, at least by our government, really. There's some laws on it. You might think, internet, it's kind of was, started by private organizations. It kind of was, but the government had really helped with getting it started. Also, universities helped with getting it started. I forget... I mean, they originally used it for, I believe, communicating between computers. And I'm not talking about the World Wide Web here. Also, people confuse things. It's very confusing, and I was confused by it for a while. There's a big difference between the World Wide Web and the Internet. The Internet basically just allows you to send data between computers. There's no websites, there's no browsers, there's no search engines. It just allows you to send data between computers. And that data was not websites. That was, it could be messages, it could be other things, but it was not the web. It was not websites. So yeah, there's a big difference, and I won't get into it, but yeah, so basically that's what happened. UCLA in 1969 on this day basically said they were going to become one of the first basically stations for connecting the internet in really the world at that point. So yeah, big history. If that didn't happen, it would either take a lot longer for the internet to come around, or maybe not at all. So there you go. That's why I love the tech history segment, because it just shows you how, really things came to happen with the internet and reflect on the history. I mean, what was crazy is, like, a lot of people don't know when the internet came around. Like, they're like, yeah, I know it's, like, new, but, like, or, like, I know, like, my parents were, like, the first generation. Like, if you're my age, like a teen, you would say, like, yeah, my parents were, like, one of the first generations with the internet and, like, really growing up with it. But I mean, it went through so many iterations, right? Like, this was the first connecting of the internet, in 1969. But then later on, in, I believe, the 80s, the World Wide Web was made, which basically allowed for websites to come around. And I'm trying to see history. Invented. Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web in 1989. So yeah, the late 80s was really the beginning of websites and the web. Difference, people use them really interchangeably, the internet and the web, but they really do mean different things. And yeah, that was in 1989. So big jump from just sending signals to between computers on the internet, starting in 1969, all the way up to basically, the 90s, late 80s, when again websites came around. So, all right. Let's see. Okay, 7 minutes. 7 minutes to Shriyans. I could fill the gap, guys, with other news. Guys, I'm not running out. Don't worry, I'll find something. No, but I mean, if you talk about tech news for an hour, you're bound to run out of things. We could kind of go into. Let me talk about Figma. I want to talk about Figma a little bit more. Not all the news has to be too recent. Figma config. That's a good name that they picked for that conference. It was a little while ago already. It ended on the 27th, but we don't have to talk about all the news that happened today. It can be from the past. So let's see, for a few days in the past. So let's see the big things that they launched, because they did launch a lot. So I just want to kind of get a big list of it, because I know all the stuff, but I don't want to forget things. In review. Here we go. This should be good. All right. So they launched Figma Slides, which I talked about a little bit earlier. Their new platform for making slides, which is pretty good. I mean, I think Figma is really just used in the UI UX world, or not just. It's used a lot in the UI UX world, but it's also they're trying to expand to be used by all sorts of things with, again, slides. It's also used for regular things, like just like, regular designs like logos and stuff like that. But slides would be really awesome, and well, it is really awesome. They already released it. So that was a big announcement. People were really excited by that one. But yeah, so that one's cool to see. Let's see what else we have here. What else did they release? Apparently UI 3. Yeah, they whole redesign to Figma to make it a lot more user-friendly too, which was kind of why I was thinking, like, Figma's great and people love Figma, but, like, really, that's why it's kind of like a UI UX world thing, because it does take a lot to adjust to some of the tools and really learn it, which wouldn't be great for, like, almost like an office suite, like it wouldn't be with the old UI. Almost it would be kind of hard to adjust to, like, every office in America learning how to use Figma for presentations, right? Which is why they kind of needed this redesign to come around, force Figma slides to really probably take off, so that any, kind of semi-technical person using Google Slides or PowerPoint would kind of be able to adjust to Figma slides. Now, I do have to admit, I have a bias for Canva, a love for Canva. Canva is, though, in a different market, so Canva doesn't need to be too worried. Figma is a lot more of an advanced tool than Canva is. Canva's kind of like a drag and drop kind of design tool, which I love. We had Guy Kawasaki, the chief evangelist of Canva, come on a little while ago. So, and we didn't have anyone from Figma, so that's another reason why I love Canva more. They came on TSARP. Figma didn't, so we'll have to see. Maybe in the future. I was gonna I also haven't reached out to anyone from Figma, which is probably the reason they haven't come on the podcast. Or well, maybe not the only reason. So yeah, maybe let me reach out to some people from Figma before I start saying that they're not coming on TSARP. But yeah, they also added some just other quality of life improvements like auto layout, UI kits, prototype viewer, just kind of making it a little better. I mean, all these updates made it better. I'm not the biggest Figma user. I'm just a Figma enthusiast, so that's why some of these things, like, don't make me go wow, because I haven't used Figma enough to be like, well, that's going to be a great thing, because every time I use Figma every day, I'm like, oh, I wish I had that feature, That's just not me. I use Canva because Canva's the place, guys. But yeah, so Figma config. People love Figma config. I don't know why. There's like a hype. There's just a love that people have for Figma. Same for Canva, but again, different markets. Not the same. But yeah, like I know they were actually saying Figma config was so big this year. Like so many people showed up. It was insane that now they're thinking of doing two configs next year just because they want to, they don't want it to kind of feel like this huge tech conference vibe, almost like a WWDC. They kind of want it to be a little smaller and kind of that homier feel, which is why they're thinking of doing two next year. Again, only thinking. We don't know that, but thinking's one thing. You got to start in the thinking phase. All right. I think you've heard enough of me talking today. I've been talking for the past hour. How about let's bring on Shriyans to talk about his really awesome startup that he's working on. I can't wait to hear about it because I'm in the target audience for what they're doing over there. It's really targeted at young founders and entrepreneurs from what I know. I got to figure this out. I'm getting better at Twitter Spaces, guys. Invite to speak. I think I did it. All right. Let's hope. We'll see. Hopefully that worked. Otherwise, I think you can, again, request to speak like I've said before. So hopefully that works. Otherwise, I need to get better at Twitter Spaces. I don't know. Twitter Spaces is a little clunky sometimes, too. Like, it just doesn't always... It just sometimes chooses not to work. But... all right, let me see. Maybe I can see invite to speak. Let me refresh because I know last time Daniel was really trying to get on, who we had on Monday, but it wasn't working for him either. So let me refresh on another tab and join on that tab, and maybe I'll see, approve him. Refresh because. All right, yeah. See, I refreshed instead of request, so I don't know. Again. Goes to show how clunky it is. But I approved him. So, all right. How you doing, Shriyans? Think he's gotta unmute. Gotta be. All right. There, I think. All right. I don't know if it's working. I really gotta get better at this. I've been saying that for the past 4 episodes, though, since we made this switch over to Twitter Spaces, but I don't know. All right. Shriyans, are you there? All right, we'll have to see. I don't know. Maybe I'll message him, see if it's working or not. I'm not sure. Let me send him a message real quick. All right. In the meantime, I did want to talk about what
you guys hear me?
Yes, it's working now. All right. So, how are you? Oh no. I think it broke again, guys. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can't hear me. Maybe that's the problem. Can he not hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, yes. I guess he can't hear me. That's why. So when I ask him a question, uh, can you not hear me? Yeah, that's probably the problem because he's able to speak, but he just can't hear me. All right, he'll figure it out. He'll get it working. Oh, I can't hear anything you're saying on Twitter Spaces. Okay, so that's why. I think. Oh, we could probably, but Twitter Spaces would break if we went on another call. Or maybe we could just call, and he could speak on both, and I deafen. No, that wouldn't work. All right, I don't know. I can figure this out though. Try another browser. Maybe that would work. Would is it working now? Can you hear me now, Shriyans? Uh, I'm on
Oh
like.
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So yeah, so I think there was a little issue when I moved. Could you hear him at all previously? Like at all?
Like before I requested to speak, I could hear like everything you were saying.
Okay, great. So yeah, there was just an issue when I approved you that messed me up. So all right, we're good now. How you doing?
Yeah. Good. How about you?
Good. So yeah, let's jump into things. How did you just come up with the idea for Start Off?
Um, so like the past year and a half or so, I've been spending like a lot of time building like online businesses. Like I started off doing like e-commerce for a bit, and then I did like web design freelancing for a long time, like agency. And I noticed that like when I was first starting off, that it would like um, I'd get like I like procrastinate a lot because like I like no direction on like what to do. So I would just like say, all right, yeah, I'm gonna like reach out to clients, make these websites, but like oftentimes I would like actually like not get to doing that. So then I realized that productivity and like building habits, setting goals was like a major part of like finding success and like getting work done. So like I noticed like for other entrepreneurs as well, that's like a major conflict of interest. So I built a product to help like alleviate that burden, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome because, as a founder myself, I can see that all the time. Like, I've had so much to do lately, too, that it's like hard to kind of track what I should do next. So, are you working on any tools to like help like prioritize tasks or organize tasks?
So we have like a goal setter, which basically when the user creates their account, um they could like outline like their long-term goals. Like our target audience is people who want to build passion projects.
Okay.
So they could outline their long-term goals and then we use like AI to like optimize weekly goals to like set like short-term goals that help the user like achieve their goals in the long term. We also have like habit trackers to make sure that like the users are spending like quality time on building habits every day. So those are going to be features that we roll out in the future, but currently we're on like our main project or our main prioritization right now is building like an agency that helps people like start off their personal brand basically. So uh, right now, what we do is we set up personal brands, landing pages, and Notion templates. And my CTO, technical co-founder, is on the works of building like the features, like I said, habit tracker and the goal setter, on like the back end.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. And I think it's great that you specify like people just like working on passion projects because, like I was saying, founders, which a lot of the time can just make people think like, oh, it's got to really be like, a startup or a business. But it really, everyone sometimes just like wants to work on a side project or it doesn't even have to be a side project, but they just don't like that term of founder. So it's
Hmm.
just anyone, working on, like you said, a passion project.
Yep.
So how are you um like uh what is your agency side of it doing right now? You said personal brands, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
And
so our product is really new. We literally came up with like all the ideas. Like I gathered my co-founder, literally like last month. So we've been moving like really fast so far for like, something that just started 1 month ago. But currently we're on the works of building the front end for the agency, and I have experience working with like web design clients. So uh, I could bring over some of them to tell them, hey, like we offer these new services now. But yeah, so uh, we're still in the works of building at the front end for that.
gotcha. All right. And um are there any features that you have in mind for the future that, are just kind of like in the back of your head but you haven't really like started working on at all?
Hmm. Uh, One feature that we really want to add is um, like a time optimized planner, which is available for a few other products in the markets. uh, though not many people like know about it. So what it would do is it would take the habits and goals that was AI generated for the user, and then it would basically like optimize the activities in like the user's like given day to ensure that they do work that allows them like the greatest um like to get like the most amount of work done basically.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. And I mean, I just love the idea of this platform because, that is, all this stuff is very important things for people working on projects. And, I hope what you guys are trying to do is just, um, help these people be more successful, and that's great. So on a more technical side, I know a lot of people like starting off with either just coding or trying to start a project like this. um, they really don't know what things to learn first. So do you have any like recommendations on like a tech stack to use or languages to learn or anything like that?
Mhm. So me personally, I'm not that technical. Like uh, I'm like pretty experienced with like Python programming, but in terms of building like a product, like using like front end tools like Next.js, like React frameworks, those type of stuff. One thing like for all the viewers that are watching that may not be like that technical, one advice I have, like if you want to start your own startup or passion project that requires software to be built, is you need a technical co-founder. You need someone that has like experience coding things. But I would say, like from what my technical co-founders has said, the important tools would be for front end would be Next.js, and I would say for AI implementation, most of it would just be from OpenAI's APIs.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Yeah, and I
not too
know.
sure about that.
Um, yeah, and have you, for like, a lot of founders wonder, like any costs with like hosting stuff, like how are you guys hosting your website?
So I believe my technical co-founder is hosting it on Vercel. There are free trials, but they're also if you want to get more features, you would have to pay. In the past, when I did web design freelancing, I had like a plan, like a business plan on Hostinger, which I would recommend for beginners who want to build like a bunch of websites. Maybe if they want to create their own agency for web design. So that would also cost money, but I would say it's a good investment if you want to really like grow your agency. And another tool would be for like a lot of founders, I'd say go high level. It would allow you to build a bunch of websites, host your own websites. A little bit more costly, I believe, but uh, if you are able to be successful in your sales skills, then your clients will like love you for it.
Yeah, and Vercel, you were saying we use Vercel for TSARP portals too. So, yeah, Vercel's great. And there's a little bit of yeah, there is a paid plan for like if you're a team or something. But if you're starting out, if you're your own technical co-founder, like if you're technical yourself, Vercel's great because it's real easy if you're just one person. Otherwise, if you're a team and you want to add on a team member, I think it's a little. I think it's like $20 per member. That might be too much though. It's more than you would think though when I looked into it. But yeah, so you do need to pay if you want to add multiple people to one project. But
Mhm.
all right. And what are some? Let's talk about some other stuff too. Are you working on any other projects at the moment? I mean, besides TSARP, if you guys didn't know, I mentioned this in the Twitter post. Shriyans is our CMO at TSARP, so he's working on some of the social media stuff we're doing right now and finding people to interview, so stuff like that. But besides both those, what else are you working on right now?
So I took like a long break from web design freelancing when I decided to build Startoff.AI, like when the idea came. Uh, but I feel like web design freelancing, like if I were to start right now again, it would allow me to be conditioned for when I offer these other agency services for Startup.AI, which would include like building personal brands, landing pages, and Notion templates, to name a few. Uh, and apart from that, the other project I'm working on is building my own personal brand on X because I feel like I have like a lot of value to give to people who are like new to the space and want to learn like habits that will help like turn their visions into reality. Like if they like had an idea at the back of their minds, I would like be able to help them like implement it by teaching them like what works, what doesn't, like what habits to follow to ensure your success. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're on Twitter listening right now, it's really easy to go check out his profile. So go do that right now. Give him a follow. You've like really just started too, right? Only
Hmm.
a little bit ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's real early, so just go follow. You'll follow him from the beginning. And yeah, I mean, you've done a ton of stuff. And like you said, you have a ton of value to add. So go follow him, and learn from him. So you also, I want to talk a little bit about your work with Udemy. So you made a very successful Udemy course in the past, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and what was that course about, and how did you grow it so much?
So the backstory for the course was a lot of my friends' parents were like always asking me to teach them how to code because like they knew that I'd known how to code for like several years. Um, like basic languages like Python, JavaScript,
Yeah.
Um, but like it would be like when they ask you to teach the kids how to code, like you can't just like sit down with them like while you're at their house and like teach them how to code. Because like most of us, like when we're at other people's house, like we don't have like the attention spans to like learn, right? Like if we're at someone else's house, we want to like play games or something. So it would never end up being like that productive. Uh, but then I realized like the reason why there's so many people that want to learn how to code is because coding is actually like really expensive to learn. Uh, Usually, like you would have to go to boot camp at the least or something, or like learning how to code simply from like watching YouTube videos. I would say like wouldn't really like, cut it that well because there's like a lot more content that you need to learn. So I decided to create like a free Python like intro to Python course, talking about like stuff like data types, conditionals, loops, functions, and data structures. And so uh, I started in July of 2023, I think, so about 1 year ago. And Uh, what I did to start it was like I used ChatGPT to uh, give me like lesson plans sort of to better like organize my the structure of the course. And then from there I would like write each of my video scripts. And then I think about like around December-ish was when I started filming. So it's like a really long process, like July, starting from July to December. Those several months I spent like scripting out each and every lesson plan for like 6, 7 units with like 4 or 5 lessons in each of them. And then from then I spent like 2 weeks in December, like just filming, like 5, 6 hours a day just filming. And then I would spend like by January, like I had school started again after winter break, and I would spend around like 3 hours uh after like doing my homework and everything to edit the videos. So like I would go to sleep like really late. But then like by February, I was like uploading all my course curriculum videos and such, and it was like a really rewarding process at the end because I think all right. So when I first published the course, it was at I think 5 or 6 students after like the first 3 days, and I remember like I sort of forgot about the course like after like 3 or 4 days. And then my dad woke me up and like told me like check how many Udemy students you have, and I opened it up and I had like 600 students. So sometimes like if you create like content that's like genuinely like valuable, like even if you don't see immediate progress, like sometimes like these things like can happen like overnight. So that's just like a little bit of motivation for those of you who've wanted to start these things, but like we're scared that it would not be fruitful.
Yeah, and yeah, that's really awesome info on like courses because a lot of people, they hear about courses, but a lot of the time what happens is people will make courses that just like bad and almost like really like just to like quickly try to get a bunch of users and make money off of them. So it's great to see
Mhm.
courses like, like yours that are so full of info and really detailed because it kind of like, just refreshes the market and kind of, just makes it goes to show that there still are courses are still a great way to learn, even though we see a lot of those like bad actors, I guess you could say, out there, like, so
Yeah.
there still are a lot. Courses are still a great place to learn, and I even say that like all the time. Like, courses are a great place to start too, and then once you can learn enough to jump in a project and learn more that way, that's also good. And yeah, so it's awesome. Do you have any plans to start or make any other courses in the future?
Um, so the thing is, I don't want to create a course until I feel like I'm an expert in the field, and I felt like with like multiple years of like Python programming, I feel like I would be able to I was like really um, experienced enough to teach intro to Python at least, something that I learned like several years before I taught it. So in the future, like if I pick up like new skills like video editing, um, client outreach, sales, really like anything that I use to find more success, then I feel like teaching other people would be like very like philanthropic because you're learning something and then you're synthesizing it into content so other people can also succeed. And then you don't lose anything from that because you actually gain an audience, which you could turn into profitable customers as well. So I feel like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that last part you said is very important because, a lot of people might be like, well, if I have an agency like you have right now, and then I also make like a course that, am I like competing with myself there? But you don't think you would be?
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Is I
yeah.
would say, yeah, a lot of people like we see a lot of creators now who the first step they take in their online business isn't even like to start a business, it's to start a brand. So they would like go on literally any social platform. I think X is the most popular, but uh, YouTube, TikTok, yeah, even Instagram. I would say, and they would just post in their niche, and then a lot of people think that within like your first post, even if it's like really good, it'll go viral, and like that'll like the chances of that happening is like 0.0001%, right? You gotta like stay consistent. Like post a lot. I think on X you have to post like really a lot. I was pretty amazed by like 30,000 posts or something like by like most users or something. Uh, but yeah, just post consistently, and then once you build up a niche, like a good audience in your niche, then you would be able to like sell them a product, like teaching them how you did it. And it's like, yeah, it's like a really good business model to have, I'd say, because teaching people is also a great way to have profitable customers. And since you're teaching other people, you have more of sort of a you have like more credibility, I guess. Uh, and then more clients would come to you. So it's like a win-win on both ends. Like you can make more on your agency and more through uh, providing like newsletters, courses, etc.
Yeah, and I think you also, another great thing is if you teach it, you also learn it even more yourself. It helps you really get better at it if you teach it, which is just another added benefit. But also to start like a personal brand, there's like two ways you could do it, and one way is a lot better than the other, but a lot of people like start a personal brand before they start a business or as they're starting a business, because they really want to build up a following of what they're doing. And a great way to do it is to start with almost like I'm starting at zero and I'm trying to build up this business and follow my journey, right? That's a great way to start a personal brand, because it's unique. It's your own business, right? No one can copy that from you because it's your business, but what I'll see a lot of times and is like, people will almost like start a personal brand and be like, I've been this successful and whatever, but you also don't really know what, like, they keep saying they've been so successful, but they also don't have like a ton of proof, and you also don't know
Mm-hmm.
like how credible they are. But I think what's great with you, is you did start a great Udemy course, and you are starting a great company. So like the stuff like you talk about, there is credibility to what you're saying from the other stuff you've done. And I also like how you said like you wouldn't make a course until you really think you're an expert in it. And I think that's a great way of approaching things too, because people sometimes will like just like learn a little bit about a topic and be like, oh, let me teach this to more people. But they're not
Mm-hmm.
always, they're sometimes like learning themselves too, so that's not always the best
Yeah.
way to do things. So I really like how you're doing it too. And are there any other like personal brands that you've really taken inspiration from, or like you follow a lot?
Um, I mean, I couldn't name one that like one specific one. I'd say like uh those in like younger entrepreneurs in general, like that are between like 14 to 19ish. Those young entrepreneurs, like I'm really interested in like I always like find it really interesting to watch their content. Like for you, for example, 14 years old, and then you have like this big podcast already. I think it's really inspiring because it shows that a lot of people in this generation like care about um, improving on themselves and building something that they're passionate about. And seeing like the passion in like young people is, uh, really inspiring, and it inspires you to also uh, carry out your own passions at a young age.
Yeah, and I think we've really seen like we're really at the peak, right? Or, well, not the peak because I think it will keep going higher, so it's not the peak, but we're seeing a ton and the most ever like really young kids, really teens, like starting businesses and stuff like that. And I think it's almost going to become its own, I don't know if it would be like a full sector, but it will really become a big space for like making companies to help teens and other people start businesses, kind of like what you're doing. You're not fully focused on teens, but I think as a teen yourself, it could kind of fall into that category. TSARP, trying to help young founders. There's also Genesis Tribe, a great place to find young founders by Timmy, who we recently had on Monday. So there's even just like three right there, but there's so many more out there too. So I think that's almost going to become like its own sector, because it's not just there's so many kids trying to start companies and go down that path, but there's also a ton of kids trying to help other teens go down that path too. So
Hmm.
yeah, so it's really interesting to follow, and I'm glad to be in the middle of it, and I'm glad to be in the position I am interviewing other ones, other teens like that, because I just get to see how many awesome teens like you there are out there doing stuff like this. So I think that's really awesome. So, are there any are there any plans down the future? Any businesses you haven't started yet that you have interest in, or just like hobbies you have that you might want to start a business about at one point?
Um, like I was saying, the thing I always wanted to start was a personal brand. And like I never got to it because like I was super busy with like my own like companies. I didn't have like time to like help others learn how to do it as well. But I feel like right now as I'm building Startoff.AI, it's kind of like forcing me to create a personal brand to help me like market my product. So I feel like that in the future, I hope for it to spiral into other platforms as well, like TikTok, Instagram. Growing followings on those platforms would also allow me to funnel a greater audience into my products. But I would say if you have a if you have something that you want to do in the future, you shouldn't wait you shouldn't wait for the future to come. You should like go for it right now. And I would say sometimes like a lot of these future projects, they don't like you don't like think about it for like several years. It just like stumbles across you sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and I think almost like people say all the time, like, what do you want to be when you grow up, or what do you want to be yeah, what do you want to be one day? And I think that almost gives the impression of like you have to wait. And obviously for things there are where you have to wait, like if it's
Mhm.
you want to be a doctor, I hope it's very difficult to be a teen doctor, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But so there definitely are professions you have to wait, but with entrepreneurship, I think what's great about it is you can start right now, like just today, come up with an
Yeah.
idea and just
Mhm.
start working on it. And even like
Yeah, everyone watching, start right now. Like
exactly.
there's don't wait next month. One quote I live by, like that's like my banner on X right now is one day crossed out day one.
Yeah. There you go. And I think that's a perfect, like, very short way of summarizing exactly what I was saying. And, even, we're focused on founders and entrepreneurs and people starting projects here. But even if you're not going down that path, and you're like, yeah, but I'm not going down that path, how am I going to start today? If you want to be a doctor, start learning as much as you can about the medical field. There's probably courses you can take, little internships you might be able to start now. Like, I know, like I said, we're not really focused on that, but that is just advice. Like, whatever you want to do, just start learning now, whether it's a course, whether it's an internship, just start now. And I think
Mhm.
that's the
Yeah.
best way to put it. So,
And I feel like
go ahead.
uh yeah, I feel like entrepreneurship, regardless of what field you want to go to, it could be like not necessarily entrepreneurship, but like passion projects, I would say. You could do no matter what field you want to go to. Like if you want to be a doctor when you grow up, you could create like a nonprofit to donate to people like with like heart disease or something. I don't know. Uh, if you want to be an engineer or something, you could create like a blog talking about like your favorite like uh, I don't know like drones or something. But like any field you want to go into, like there's always a passion project you could start to show your interest and help you like learn more about that field. I feel like learning is like a process that is always going to happen, like regardless like of whether you're in school or whether you're starting a project, company, or working. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you added that on, because you're right. Like, it's something to set you apart. Like even in like saying once you get to the age to apply to colleges and say you're applying to a college to be an engineer, right? And you're like, oh, I started say in an essay or something. I've never obviously gone through that application process, but I do know there are places you could include like, oh, by the way, I started a whole blog about engineering that I love, or about my favorite type of engineering, whether you're interested in drones or whatever, you like that would really set you apart. So there's always a passion project or something you could do. Like you said, start a nonprofit, all different things you could do to really help you. And the best way to do that is to start now. And yeah, I think that's the best way. So, before we wrap it up for today, is what's the best way people could either, well, yeah, let's do it this way. What's the best way people could contact you? What's the best way that they could, like, get your services, with your agency, and anything else you want to plug too. So those are the three things.
Mhm. Oh yeah, so oftentimes my email gets like really clogged because uh I have it set so that uh anything that I'm like not really subscribed to gets put in the spam, because like I would get like a lot of spam messages from people who want to like uh help me with my website or something, even though like I already know how to build my website.
Yeah, I get those
Uh
too.
yeah, so on my X profile I have a link tree to make it easy for people who want to connect with me. So I would say like I'm really active on LinkedIn and Instagram. X, I'm trying to build the habit of being more active on it, like posting more and like looking at messages that I get. But right now, mainly like Instagram and LinkedIn. It's like the two best places for you to like connect with me. So on both platforms, it's literally just my name. Nothing, no nickname, just like my name.
All right. And how could people use your agency, get in contact with you? Like, did they just contact you, just message you?
Uh, so for like the longest time, I was the one who would reach out to my clients. I did like a little bit of Facebook marketing for a while, and like I would get like a few clients by like I would post on Facebook, and then they would reach out to me for like small projects. But uh, as I'm building like the uh, agency services sector for Startoff.AI, which wouldn't be like the main product, but it's the product that we're launching first. That would allow like I'll put that on my X bio once we do launch, so that uh, people who want to start their own, I don't know, e-commerce brand or something, and they need a website, they could reach out. People who want to start their own like personal brand and they need like a landing page for the newsletter, they could reach out through that website, which will be in my bio soon.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on today. You shared a ton of great information, not just for the founders, but also about what you're working on. I can't wait to see quickly. Do you have any like timeline of when a launch could be happening for Start Off?
We're hoping for it to be sometime this week or next week.
All right.
Though since we're a very new startup. Like literally, the idea came across me like uh, last month. So we're moving like really fast right now, and we're hoping like this week or next week. It's really exciting, like that we're gonna like finally launch. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I'll definitely whatever you post on Twitter about it, I will definitely retweet. I'll check it out. I'll probably post too. On Twitter on my Twitter about it. But I can't wait to see the launch. And yeah, so you guys, all the viewers, will definitely know about it. I'll probably even mention it on TSARP too. So, yeah, I can't wait. And thanks for joining. See ya.
Hmm.
All right,
See,
we're also
bye
gonna end off the whole thing now too. So bye to all the viewers.
bye.
All right, we're done on Twitter and then we're done on YouTube. Bye everyone.